Welcome to Symmetry. In this video tutorial, I'm going to introduce the fundamental basics of using the Symmetry program. From the main menu here, the user is presented with four options. You can either start a new job, open an existing job, access the video tutorials, or adjust your settings in the preferences. I strongly recommend that you take an opportunity to view the other video tutorials that are accessible from the main menu in Symmetry. You'll see there's a large range of options here, starting from very basic introductions on how to use user interface, right the way through to more complex and advanced examples of using drill holes, variable text merge, and also color mapping in the instance that you're laser engraving. What we're going to do, we're just going to start with a new job. When the user starts a new job, the Quick Start Wizard displays. The idea of the Quick Start Wizard is to give the user the ability to very quickly design a basic layout for engraving. It's separated into three categories, the first of which is the autoplate layout wizard. Here the user's got the option of adjusting the actual layout of the job itself and also entering the number of lines which they want to start off with. You can also do other basic things like adjusting the margins and also ratios as various lines, and with a few clicks you've got a basic layout with some lines of text. The next option applies if you're doing cylindrical engraving. Here, if you enter the diameter and the available vertical space of the object which you're engraving, Symmetry will create a overall engravable area. It will unwrap a 360 version of that engravable space as your plate area. The third option is choosing from template. Symmetry allows you to create template files for future use, and these are accessible from the menu here. Just simply select the template you want and the job will load up. Now if you have the Trophies and Awards module installed, that also uses templates, you'll have access to various other trophy shield templates for engraving. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go back to the autoplate layout wizard, and we'll just click yes for now on this current design. And there you go. You can see the layout before you which we created in the autoplate. Okay, starting with the main area here, this is obviously your plate area, and these are the lines which we've just created. Down the bottom here you've got a properties panel which reflects the current information for the line which is selected. This line in particular, I can tell that the font currently is Gothic. I can change that to Helvetica. Can adjust the line height, margins too if you wish, italicize. You've also got the ability to adjust the center properties, the location of the line, left and right or center adjustment, and also you can retoggle the actual overall plate dimensions as well. So if I click on a different line, you'll see that the details have changed for that line. Over on the left hand side here is a shortcut pane, and this too changes depending on what you've clicked. Right now I've clicked on a line, so here are a list of line options. I can arc the line, apply a fill to it, zoom into the line, rotate the line, or delete the line. Similarly, if I was to click on the actual plate area itself, you'll see that the shortcut panel has now changed again. Starting from the top, you've got the row mark previewer, which allows you to preview the job, and you can also use that feature to email proofs off to customers. You've got borders, autoplate, which is similar to the Quick Start Wizard which we used, multiplate for batching, inserting an image, zooming to a plate, which is particularly useful if you've got a multiplate scenario, rotate a plate, adding a new line, applying drill holes, and serialize. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to delete this, and we're going to start off creating a layout similar for use for a business card. So what we'll do, we'll go to the options menu and go columnize, and what I want two columns with 2 lines each. We won't worry about doing too much of the formatting here because I prefer to do that outside of the columnize screen. We'll go OK. So there you go, I've got my 2 columns which I created. Now what I'm going to do is further size these columns. So I can simply select them by drawing a box. I'm just going to readjust the size a little bit more so they look a bit more like normal fields. I'm going to move this one over a bit so I've got a longer area for the name field. Alright, so name, email. I want those to be right justified. And here are my two variable text entries. So far that's looking good. What we'll do now, we'll drop in a logo for good measure. Click on the insert logo, go to the bitmaps folder, find the logo you want, which is in this case either a bitmap or a JPEG, and just draw a rectangle for it. Now if I was to hold down the shift key, you'll see it's locked in the ratio quite nicely, whereas without it you can distort the image quite terribly. So just holding down the shift key, we'll apply it, release the mouse, and that'll vectorize the image on the fly as it comes into Symmetry. Alright, perfect, there we go. And we'll also apply a border. So we'll add a border, give it some dimensions, give it a corner radius, go for a nice scallop finish, 2 millimeters, give it a cutter width. Okay. And there we go, we've got a basic layout working. Now what I'll do actually, I'll also do a serialize underneath. So I'll just bring this line up a bit and I'll copy it and paste it. Okay, and this will be my ID number. And we'll just leave you blank. Okay. So now from here we're ready to multiplate the job. So from the options menu, select multiplate. We're just going to do 6 of these. So what I'll do, I'll just create a material size large enough to do 6. Okay, duplicate plate 1, that's good. And go OK. Alright, so now we are ready for our variable data. Alright, to do this, I'm going to open up Excel as my data source. And you'll see here I've got 2 columns of information. I've got names in one column, email address in the other. Brilliant. So all I'll need to do from here is resave this. And we're going to save it as a comma delimited file, so a CSV file. We'll just leave it the same name and we'll save it. Yes, click yes. Alright, now we'll close this job. So now from Symmetry, from the text menu, select Text Merge Wizard. And step 1, just browse for a file. Step 2, how's the data been separated? Well, being a CSV, it's been separated by commas. And then right here you'll get a preview. So depending on how you've actually sorted your file, just keep on clicking on these various options here until the columns start to reflect the information which you want to split. Now, I've got 6 lines, but it's only giving me the first 3. It only gives you the first 3 or so to preview. So that's fine, and that's looking good. So the next step down here, we've got 3 different options on how to merge this data. One, we can merge from a specific line range. We can enter, like, say, from line 1 to line 7. Secondly, which is the option which we're going to do, is merge on lines with a letter or character. In this case, I've actually selected the lowercase a, so we're going to use that. The third option is create lines. We'll explore that one a little bit later. It's not really appropriate for what we're trying to do here with a batch job, but it is brilliant if you want to import a table of information onto a plate. So we'll go through that option later on. And we're going to replace the existing data, which is, in this case, the letter A, which you see on the job. So with that, we'll go OK. And there you go. You've got all the information merged on the plate. Now you can see here there's a few email addresses in particular which are a little bit too condensed up, so I don't really like that. I want to make the layout look like it all fits nicely. So we'll just click on plate 1, and I'm just going to zoom to that plate for a second. What I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust plate 1 so it looks right. So to do that, what I'll probably just need to do is reduce the height of the characters and also give them just that little bit more space as well. Alright, so that's looking a lot better. Zoom back out, so that's looking a lot better compared to the others. Now what I'm going to do, from the options menu, I'm going to adjust the multiplate layout. Now I'm going to nominate plate 1 as my template. I want to apply the layout changes to all plates, and I don't want to copy any of the line content. I want to keep the line content unique, and click update. And as you can see, what that's done is that's applied all the formatting changes I did to plate 1 to the rest of the plates, and as a result it now fits nicer. Okay, so now I want to apply the serialization, so I'm just going to click on the first plate on the actual line which I want to apply the serialize to. From the options menu, select serialize. I'm going to enter a prefix and a suffix. Okay, we're going to give it some leading zeros. You can see here a preview of what it looks like. And you can see it's already detected that I've got a multiplate, so it's going to serialize the plates in my layout. It's going to start from plate 1, finish at plate 6, and it's going to serialize on line 7. And in this case it will overwrite any existing data on that line, which is nothing, but that's okay. So we'll just click OK now. And there you go, it's applied the actual serialization to all the plates in the layout. Wasn't that nice and simple? Alright, well there's a few more things to keep in mind, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clear this multiplate off, so we've just got the one plate which we're dealing with. And what I'm going to do quickly, I'm just going to change all this text here to a true type font. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to demonstrate the fill. So in this case, we're just going to click on the image for the moment. And on the left hand side here, you can see that the toolbar options have changed. I'm going to select the fill option. Simply enter a cutter diameter. In this case, we'll keep the outline contour as well. And then we just select Island Fill. And you'll see that has provided us with a nice island fill of the actual image that we want to engrave. And the same thing can be done to text. If I was to say click on my name, go to fill there, go to 0.2 cut, go island fill. That's applied the exact same fill to the text. It's also important to note too that if you've got a laser engraver in Symmetry Pro, with a click of a single button, you can now change that job so it's suitable for laser engraving. So borders and all, nice and simple. So from here I'm going to output the job to Job Editor so you can see the output of it. So to do that, I'm just going to select Output Job. We've got our output option selected. Just before we go forward though, I'll take you through the basics here. You've got 4 different output options. The first is by Print Manager. Now this is particularly useful if you've got a laser engraver. You'll simply hit select there and you'll find your laser engraver print driver and go from there. If your engraver also is print driver, you can also use this find your engraver and proceed that way. If you've got a serial connection, simply click on the serial option. Select your driver, select the COM port to output. Ethernet, enter the IP address of your machine, port number, and output that way. Or by Job Editor, or any other third-party product which sends a plot file or HPGL file out to the engraver. Simply selecting that end option there, and select your driver. And A-F down the side here, you've just got a few little options here. You can set the number of repeats, the number of times you want to redo the job. You can toggle the scale. If you're engraving on particular materials like glass and stuff, you can select the appropriate speed for the job. If you have a jig in place, you can also select the jig if you've created one, or you can manually enter the offsets. You can also enter the plate offset, where the plate's going to start engraving from, whether it's going to offset to the center, bottom right, or top left. And the last option down here, which is a relatively new feature, is a re-engrave option. Now, in this particular example here, all of my text is black, and I'll take you through this option in a moment. So we'll come back to that actually. Alright, so I'm just going to click on Output Plot File, select my machine, go OK, and that would have sent our job out. So if I just bring up Job Editor, you'll see it's loaded up our job nicely, and it's also applied arcs as well wherever possible, so you'll get a nice good speed going around the corners too. So that job looks great. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is demonstrate the re-engrave function. Now the re-engrave doesn't apply to the borders, so what I'm going to do is just delete that border for now, so it's out of the way. And what we're going to do in this scenario here, say for instance, hypothetically we're engraving glass or something, and just part of the names and email address didn't quite come out clear enough and need to be reapplied. Just going to select the lines which we want to reapply, change the line color to any particular color from the properties panel down here, and then go to the output dialog screen. And from here we just simply select our device to engrave to, and the only thing which we change is we go down to F, and we also select that same color, in this case red, and then go OK. And now that's on your output, the items in the layout which are red. So you can have a multi-plate batch if you want, or anything really, and whatever is of a particular color which you set is what outputs. Now you can also set multiple colors too, so in the instance that you want to apply a different cutter dimension, for instance, to the job, say the red needs to be a thinner cut compared to the black, you can do multiple different colors with different cutters, and you can then output the job color at a time and change your tooltips that way, as an alternative to inserting a pause point, which you can do from the text menu. So anyway, what we'll do now, we'll just bring up that job, launch Job Editor, Untitled, and there you go. Out of everything which we had before, it's only re-engraved what was in red. Well, that was a crash course into how to use Cipher Symmetry. I hope you found it useful. As I mentioned earlier, please do check out the video tutorials link on the Cipher Symmetry install. As well as that, the website www.ciptech.com also has access to a range of video tutorials which are also connected through YouTube too. So there's a few different ways you can access the video tutorials, and they're just a brilliant way to get a heads up on what's changed with new features of Symmetry, and also how to learn to take advantage of those features a lot quicker. Getting back to variable text merge options, I'm just going to show you the other text merge feature available. If I open up Excel again, you'll see here we've got a basic tabular layout, 2 columns, 6 rows, and say I just want to dump this data as it is straight into Symmetry. It's particularly useful if you're creating contact boards or opening hours signs. You'd populate and enter all of your data in here, like you'd have days of the week, then opening hours, and closing hours, whatever. So what we'll do, we'll just close that now, go back to Symmetry. So first step, we've created a 200 by 100 plate, which is fine, and by using the text draw tool, I'm going to define the area which I want the table to take up. So obviously it looks like one giant line, but we're just going to leave that empty. Now that's going to be the overall text area. So now we'll go to the text menu, select text merge wizard. Following steps previously, we'll select our text merge file, data separated by commas, and on the finally step we'll select create lines and go OK. And what this has done, this has just dropped all of that data into Symmetry. It's created 2 columns and 6 lines each, and from here we can do a selection like so and do necessary alterations and formats. So we can right align these guys, move them over here a little bit, grab these, left align them, give them a bit more space, move it down a little bit, draw up a heading, and there we go. Nice and simple. So instead of having to go into columnize and creating various columns, then having to enter the number of lines and then typing all the text in manually or using variable text merge to variably enter the data, we've been able to simplify this whole process down into just a few clicks. And that for us is what Symmetry is all about. It's more than just an engraving platform. Our intention is to create an engraving environment where you can do the jobs as quickly as possible. We're taking the least amount of keystrokes and get the results you want.